crazy right now. Look, it's pointing backwards. They're probably, right now, it's pointed towards the back. The camera's pointed towards the back of the room. Here it comes right now. It doesn't even. Right, there goes our alarm. I don't know. It just keeps swirling around in a circle. I don't know what to tell. Maybe I'll just let it go on its own, and then if it keeps.
We'll power through it. We'll figure out.
What's the date?
Ladies and gentlemen, the regular meeting of the Village Council of Forest Park will come to order. This is the Monday, June 13th, 2022 meeting. We begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you are able, please rise. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, would you take the roll?
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Here.
Commissioner Nero.
Here.
Commissioner Vogt,
Here.
Mayor Hoskins.
Here. Okay, approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the May 23rd Village Council meeting minutes?
Nero make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Maxim. Discussion? If there's no discussion, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. Public comment.
Yes, we have Burhan Syed. Right here.
Good evening, everyone. It's my first time. I'm a new resident of Forest Park. I moved here. It'll be a year next week. I moved here from Seattle. I live just beside the Starbucks on Elgin. And I love living here. This is great. Like, this is my forever home. I've come here, I'm getting married. This is where this is it. One of the things that I'm seeing though, and it's a problem that I have that I just want to bring to everyone's attention just to raise the visibility. If you're ever driving down Madison and you see some weirdo with 3 dogs, that's me. And as I walk my dogs up and down Elgin, as I approach the Starbucks, there's the back alley behind it. There are people that careen right through those back alleys, either on Elgin or on Marengo. And at first I was just getting upset, and then I decided to drive it myself. And I'm like, okay, like, it can't be the case that everybody is just this careless. And in driving it myself, I found that even I was approaching it a little too fast. And I sent an email off last week to somebody and I said, you know what, I almost all regret moving here because 3 times in 1 week, I was almost all hit by a car. And it's at that point where it's like, okay, well, I'm going to try to do something about it. And so if I had to offer a suggestion, it might be evaluating speed bumps or something just at the egress before you hit the sidewalk to force people to slow down a little bit. But it is really dangerous for myself walking the dogs. My dogs have glow in the dark necklaces at night. Again, if you see a dance party walking down the street, that's me. Even during the day, you just find so many people rip through that back alley and they do not yield to pedestrians or they go the wrong way down the back alley. So I just wanted to kind of raise that to everyone's attention in the hopes that maybe we can look at that, or if there is already somebody looking at it, if they would like to speak to me, I can absolutely pass along my experiences. So that was it. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a written public comment from Karen Rasmus, Forest Park Arts Alliance. On behalf of the Forest Park Arts Alliance, we understand that the colors painted on Madison Street between Beloit and Ferdinand were done to celebrate pride in our diversity. Sadly, the paint has faded and it's hardly noticeable now. While the Arts Alliance was not involved in the original installation, we would be happy to organize volunteers to restore the painting if the council wants to refresh the colors. That's all.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, Commissioners, there are no formal communications. We have one department report, fiscal year-end report. Okay, moving on to bills by resolution. Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready.
Be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Forest Park, Cook County, Illinois, that we dispense with the reading of the individual bills inasmuch as each department head has approved and signed bills in the following aggregate amount for their respective departments. Refunds and allocations, $1,725. Public Affairs, $70,009.42. Police Department, $794.12. Community Center, $359.67. Accounts and Finance Clerk's Office, $158,355.87. Accounts and Finance Fire Department, $47,771.99. Department of Health and Safety, $6,262.40. Street Department, $71,544.92. Public Property, $56,873.38. Seizure, $2,102.19. Federal Customs, $10,046.84. Fleet Replacement, $445. TIF, $1,842.50. VIP, $177.09. Water Department, $8,282.53, for a total of $436,592.92.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, is there a motion to approve the resolution on the bills?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Burns. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Maxim. Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxam,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is Resolution R-53-22.
Okay, Commissioners, there is no unfinished business before the council today. First item under new business is an ordinance granting a site plan approval for the U-Haul storage facility located at 7209 Harrison Street in the Village of Forest Park. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxam. Is there a second? If there is no second, the motion will die for lack of a second. Thank you.
Nero, go ahead, second, sir.
Thank you. It's been seconded by Commissioner Nero. Discussion? Is there any discussion, Council Commissioners?
I have a couple of questions.
Commissioner Burns?
This is a six-story building we're talking about here. And I understand U-Haul throughout their whole system in the United States does not have another six-story structure. Am I correct?
Hi, my name is Rick Rottweiler. I'm a district vice president for U-Haul in Chicago. We do have other buildings that are six stories and some that are taller.
I understand that that's not what you said at the meeting when, at the planning commission, you said you didn't, this is their first try at building something 6 stories high.
We are building a six-story, we're proposing to build the six-story building. We have some different conversion buildings throughout the country that are taller, some in New York. I don't have the specifics on other buildings with me right now.
And there'd be 1,066 units in this.
Correct,
You're allowing for 20 parking spaces.
correct.
And you're tearing down the existing workshops that are over there?
Yes, the existing 9,819 square foot repair facility that we have on site, we're proposing to demolish that.
And you're moving them across the street into the U-Haul across the street, if I'm not mistaken.
The repair facility, we've already moved to Bellwood.
Okay,
It needed to be a larger facility to accommodate the equipment that we maintenance.
but there's going to be 5 bays over across the street.
Right, those are interior load and unload bays so that the customer can actually pull in out of the elements.
And you're going to have 30 employees there at peak periods.
Up to,
Up 83% of employees will be there during the peak periods.
Correct.
Where do those guys park?
A lot of them actually take public transit, but we also have some parking on the 801 South Harlem where they park as well.
Well, I think that they're using Elgin as parking. And, you know, if you're gonna put everybody across there, when they used to park on the north side of the street, and where you're tearing down those buildings and you're putting this unit there. Another thing I might want to say is that we have a population of about 14,400 people. That means 1 out of every 14 people in the village of Forest Park can rent a storage locker over there. That's
Jen-
that's a kind of overkill there, I think, with the number of units you got and the size of that building. That's my thought.
Commissioner Maxim.
Wondering if we could have Director Glinke kind of talk us through the zoning in the area, whether there are variances that were asked for, kind of just the basics of, you know, how this project came about.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is a by right project. We're only evaluating this for site plan approval. Commissioner, I heard nothing about this. Is the first time we were going to build a 6-story building. You know, a tall building there perhaps will look a little bit out of place, but remember, you've got the Volvo Tower across the way, and more concrete's probably going to be developed in the next 12 to 18 months. And who knows what Oak Park's going to put there. There's a bidding war on that property, but it's going to be taller than 6 stories. The corner's transforming. I mean, U-Haul is not in business to serve the village of Forest Park. You know, they're all home business. They've been here for decades. I'm sure if you asked the vice president what his top 5 zip codes are, Forest Park probably not even in the top 5 of current, you know, equipment rentals. It's a regional company. The entire report was accompanied by a traffic study. And again, we're dealing with a mature company here. We're dealing with a company that has internal comps that, you know, when they say we're going to have X number of visits a day, it's a pretty reliable source. If this was a startup, if this was a first timer, I might have some concerns, but the Plan Commission approved it unanimously. They had some concerns over the lack of landscaping. Rick and I walked the site. It's very difficult. Now, remember also that it is 100% impervious surface. Okay, it's 100% solid surface. Now, when the new building is built, it's going to be built with the contemporary stormwater management requirements from MWRD. So there's likely to be, due to the lot size, there's likely to be some retention or detention there, depending on what is the preference of MWRD. So it's not going to affect stormwater. It's going to have minimal impact on, you know, remember when it was a maintenance facility, it had trucks from the region going there. How many employees were there at?
Maybe about 20 to 25.
Yeah, I mean, I think the common sense, you know, the smell test on this one is sound. I think the source of their data is quite reliable. And I think we need to sort of look at how Harlem Avenue is going to transform. 949 Harlem's going to be on the market shortly. These are all, you know, it's a heavily traveled. I think the traffic counts on Harlem Avenue is 45,000 cars a day. I mean, those are big numbers. This is not going to have an untoward impact either inside Forest Park or to the region.
Is that zone light industrial or industrial?
It's
and
industrial,
light and residential?
It's industrial.
No residential? It's not zoned anything
No.
with residential?
Question for Director. Was there any considerations for safety and security given when I was not at the Plan Commission or the review or anything like that?
You know, the members expressed some concern, and one member from the public did this. And again, I have to kind of defer to, you know, U-Haul's corporate model. I mean, if they have security issues, they're going to want a fence, but this place is open 24 hours, or it's accessible 24 hours to the people who rent things there. I really have to defer to their wisdom. We did insist on a fence running along the Harlem frontage, simply because we don't want people cutting back there. Remember, 2 years ago, we had the county erect a wrought iron fence so that they could keep the homeless from underneath that bridge. And we'd like to maintain the integrity of that security. It's going to be well lit. It's going to, I'm assuming it's going to have more than a few cameras on site. No, I don't, I think maybe Rick, you can address the issue, because I did go and visit a number of their sites and they're not surrounded by fences. I happen to like the open thing. I think it's a little imposing to see 6 or 8 feet, fencing surrounding any kind of a building, except maybe a prison.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if we had security issues for a self-storage facility, we wouldn't be in the self-storage business. So we are, all of our units are individually alarmed. There are key swipe access, a key card access, sorry, to get into the building for each customer that rents a unit with us. There's cameras on the inside. Everything's monitored 24 hours a day. So I have no doubts that the building will be secure.
Thank you.
Mr. Vogt.
I do have a question since you brought up fencing. There's a couple of things where it's not fully compliant with the comprehensive plan. One of those being, if there is fencing, it should not be chain link.
It's not going to be chain link.
But it also does sort of call for when you have these mixes of industrial and residential within sort of view of each other. Essentially, there's residential that can view that space.
From which direction? I'm not quite sure.
From Elgin,
The first house on Elgin is 4 addresses south. It's either obscured by St. Bernardine's or by the existing U-Haul facility. I mean, when it's built, you'll be able to see it. You won't be able to see the fence.
essentially, the comprehensive plan asks for fencing. And then to additionally use plantings or green material along with the fencing.
We talked about that extensively during the Plan Commission hearing. The problem is the land adjacent, the only soft area is owned by, I believe it's the county. And there's an enormous grade change from the corner. It's about 18 inches to the end of their property, the furthest north east corner. It's about 12 feet. So you can't really plant a hedge. I think the police department certainly prefers to have the open sight lines. You've got 2 really healthy mature trees there. They don't even have a right to plant trees there. But I think if we asked and they paid for them, we could probably make arrangements to plant some additional trees. But the sight lines need to be maintained. The place is not this place, but that corner is an attractive nuisance. We know we've got problems with Thornton's. We know we've got problems with the homeless people. We know we've got problems with heroin addicts. The level of security that's in there now, I think is more than adequate. And I think the addition of additional video surveillance is a good thing. It's a positive thing.
Well, so have you clarified what the fencing is going to be?
It's gonna be raw. Rick, do you have
I got a conceptual. Show you.
he tried to email it to me. It was too, wait a second. It's very similar to the existing fencing that the county put up. It's 6 feet. It's wrought iron.
And then so then along Harrison. I mean, that would fall within at least the comprehensive plan as.
Towards what end? I mean, they don't need it for security. It doesn't make the property look more attractive. I mean, I think if we go through the comprehensive plan, we could probably find little things that are incompatible. It's a 10-year-old document.
I don't get to vote.
I mean, I can read them all to you if you.
I
need the refresher,
Commissioner, it makes, it sounds to me like you've already made up your mind. I mean, this has been vetted by the Plan Commission. We can't do every project in accordance with the exact, exact standards of the comprehensive plan. We'd grind to a
We
halt.
can't pick and choose when we want to say something is compliant with the comprehensive plan and when it isn't to suit our
This
desires.
is not an industrial use. It's more retail than industrial.
It's zone industrial.
Yeah.
It's a very large building where people are going to be going in and out. Part of the plan also asks to be putting up these fences with fencing and possibly green materials to also reduce headlight glare and other sort of things. And it includes that along the Harlem corridor. It doesn't just say as they share space with.
They'll require photometrics as part of their construction submittal. Yes.
From a zoning standpoint, and we hear this a lot with comprehensive plan, it's not of in itself dispositive of any zoning decision, let alone a site plan approval. It's a guide. There are parts of it that probably should be updated, could be updated and are applicable. It's an element for you to consider. If you don't think it complies, that's just one of the factors involved with the approval for that site plan.
Sure, if I may, I would just counter that, this is, the village spent a lot of money to create this as a point of reference in what we should be working to strive for and achieve. We want the best for Forest Park, right? And so if this was done in 2013, I think, if we haven't updated our code, if this is now becoming less and less and less compliant with it, then how are we serving the people? We're just kind of spending the money and putting this on the shelf. I think it's important to say, we're putting up this giant building and it technically falls within the rights of that area. This is no disrespect to your, U-Haul or your plans. But how do we go ahead moving forward, thinking about how this gels with the community, especially, a decade or so later. Additionally, the second thing that I wanted to bring up.
Could I answer real quickly though? So 2013, it's a snapshot in time and it's a goal for the near future. 10 years, you kind of reach the end of your comprehensive plan, to be honest with you. So you bring up a good point. It's probably time to revisit, but the community changes and we see this all the time where the best, goals and pictures and comprehensive plan, Harlem can change dramatically in 3 years, right? And so, and I'm using that as an example. So a lot of times parts of the comprehensive plan don't follow the development. So you continually have to analyze and go, does this make sense for this location? It's a great tool. Don't get me wrong. It's there for a reason. The point I was trying to make is it's not dispositive of everything.
Sure. And even 2013, it says code updates are so long overdue. So we've sat on our hands and not made them, it's time to get moving on this. The last thing I just wanted to bring up was, it does say that, high-speed traffic and congestion makes Harlem unfriendly to pedestrians. Sidewalks are very narrow, no pedestrian protections from high-speed traffic, et cetera. And they recommend, when we're seeing new development like this, partnering with the company to provide some easements to make that more pedestrian friendly or also more aesthetically pleasing. And I do notice that corner, it's very short. So someone turns that corner a little too tight in a truck, they might, roll over somebody's.
They've been turning trucks on that corner for the better part of
We've been there
four
for
decades.
44 years.
Yeah. This is not going to change the truck traffic. I mean, I'm assuming, Rick, your self-storage doesn't accommodate like tractor trailer traffic, correct?
No, correct.
So again, as this says, once you have the opportunity to address these issues when development is happening, which it's now happening, we have no interest in looking at that.
It's an IDOT right of way. And frankly, the east edge is buffered by county-owned property. This is not
The
their
easement would be
responsibility.
that point where it gets really tight.
It's all IDOT,
No, it would be their property.
but their property can't be incorporated into the public way. I'm not sure what direction you're going in here.
We can go visit it if you'd like, and I can show you what I'm talking about. But so no considerations were discussed about wider sidewalks or greening up walkways or anything like that. I've noticed one tree is being planted, but I don't know what else along that area might be.
You're referring to the Harrison frontage.
Mhm.
Okay, Rick, that's,
I mean, we have a couple of planters out there right now. We're actually still working with the landscape architect to bring it up a little bit more, to add some. So, I mean, we're certainly willing to entertain adding trees as necessary. Like Steve said, we still want the sight lines because that's part of the safety for us too. But within reason, we're willing to work with you guys.
correct. They're not asking for relief. They're building to the threshold set forth in the code.
Commissioner Maxton.
I just want to say that, Ryan just asked about, building by right. I think that's important to keep in mind that they didn't ask for variances, and that this project passed through the Planning Zoning Commission already, which is sort of the process our village has in place to, to get these projects vetted properly.
Any further discussion, commissioners? Thank you, Director Glinky. Thank you. Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready.
Commissioner Burns,
No.
Commissioner Maxam,
Yes.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt,
Abstain.
Mayor
I
Hoskins.
kind of put
Aye.
this written.
This is ordinance O-25-22.
Okay, commissioners, the next item is an ordinance authorizing the purchase of one 2022 Elgin Pelican Street Sweeper. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Vogt. Is there a second?
Nero will make that second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Nero. Discussion?
If I may.
Go ahead.
I would actually like to ask, my intention would be to table this until the next meeting if possible. We're exploring potential electric street sweeper. They generally are quite expensive, and we're waiting to get some more information from a couple of companies in the region about timeline costs, and we need to do a little bit more research about grant opportunities. But I do believe that this is worth taking just a couple weeks to give this its due diligence and to look into, possibly this alternative option that's going to save a lot of harmful CO2 emissions from entering our airways.
She has to make a motion, table, it needs a second. And it fails in the main motion.
Yeah, hang on though, before we do that, while we have this motion on the table, may I make comment?
Yes.
Have you made a motion?
Not yet.
Okay.
For discussion, yeah. I just want to add to the discussion. She made the motion, I seconded it.
Said she hasn't made the motion.
The initial motion. was
initial
made.
motion.
Oh, the initial motion. Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was.
The main motion.
The main motion, the main motion.
Got it.
I was just gonna say, on the current state of the street sweeper is inoperable, right? It's been under repair, and we decided that the repairs outweighed the value of the piece of equipment, so we don't have one, right? By the end of the week. Okay, so we're getting 1 year. It's awesome. And we know what the cost of a new one is, and we're going to be looking at the cost of an electric one. And do we reasonably think that by the next council meeting, not to put you on the spot, but kind of am, we're going to be able to have that information so we can make a decision, so we're not dragging our feet through the mud on this any longer?
Right. I would, I would only suggest this because we do have a little bit of wiggle room. Sal checked with Standard to see if that would affect our procurement of the diesel sweeper if we waited until the next council meeting. And they said we were fine. And the repairs that have currently been made are guaranteed through the end of the year. He will stop using the sweeper probably about, December before the first snow. We won't use it again till March. So I do think we owe it to at least do this due diligence and get some information together for everybody. But I think it's, it's important promise to the future.
Gotcha. Thank you.
We just need a motion and.
Okay. I didn't know if there were more questions, sorry.
Oh, okay. So if that's your intention, you need a motion to table to June
27.
27th.
I'd like to motion to table this until June 20, at the next meeting on June 27th.
Nero will second that.
Okay, so there's been a motion to table and a second. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. Okay, Commissioners, the next item is a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding by and between the Village of Forest Park and certain members of the West Suburban Municipalities and the Cross Community Climate Collaboration. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
It's been moved by Commissioner Vogt. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Maxim. Discussion? Commissioner Vogt.
I just want to give a big thanks and recognize these women, Mayor Thompson and President Zaduzzi and Skaman for their action and leadership on this issue. I know that we can't wait for one perfect thing that will magically reduce carbon emissions or capture and mitigate all the stormwater overflow. And we need to identify our opportunities to make good, well-informed and well-intentioned choices for the future of our communities. And I appreciate their partnership in putting this together. We know that perfect shouldn't be the enemy of good. So with this partnership, I truly hope that we can become active members who are not only seeking out these opportunities, but embracing them and truly committing to this pledge. So I just want to recognize their efforts.
Thank you, Commissioner Vogt. Is there any further comment? Okay, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is resolution R-54-22.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, next item is resolution authorizing the award of contract for the Jackson Boulevard Residential Lead Water Service Replacement Project for the village. Is there a motion?
Nero will make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion? Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is resolution R-55-22.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, next item is a motion to approve an entertainment license request from the Lathrop House Cafe. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxim. Is there a second?
I will second that.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Burns. Discussion? There's no discussion, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. Okay, I think we have amended the next motion, but we have before us a motion to entertain a grand opening for the Mr. Beef located at 123 Harlem. Is there a motion?
Nero make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Burns. Discussion. Commissioner Maxim.
I would like to move to amend the entertainment license application for Mr. Beef to approve a special event permit for the Mr. Beef grand opening event, including playing of outdoor music to be located at 123 Harlem Avenue.
So there's a motion to amend the main motion so that it's no longer an entertainment license, which is a defined term within our code.
Special permit.
Special event.
No, it's a special event permit.
Yeah.
Special event.
Is there a second?
Yes, Nero will second.
Okay. So it's been moved by Commissioner Maxim and seconded by Commissioner Nero. Discussion. I'm not going to request that you share it with the class, but
I didn't think the special events license covers music.
so with this is basically the council given something of a unique permission, right? So this new business owner can go ahead with this event. Council can certainly add something, but because, the license itself was a defined term, we wanted to get away from any inconsistencies.
I thought if we were letting him do a grand opening, that would be comparable to a special event license, and we wouldn't have to okay something that's not covered by ordinance.
Yeah, as it's explained to me, this started out as a special event license, which is a defined category in the code. This is understanding what they want to do. The goal is to remove it from that category and just grant a special use, a special event permit just for this one-time issue. And that's why I crafted it as an amendment to what was originally applied for.
Okay.
Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxam,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. Okay, Commissioners, next item is a motion to approve appointments of individuals to the village's Altenheim Advisory Committee. Is there a motion? Oh, I'm sorry, we missed one. Yeah, sorry. No glasses today. Motion to approve a request by the Forest Park Arts Alliance to refresh the Pride colors on Madison Street in conjunction with the village's June 23rd Pride celebration. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxim. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Nero.
Okay, so the rainbow on Madison Street is back up for discussion. So when this first came out, well, forget about that. So here we are. So here's my thing with the rainbow on Madison Street. The Arts Alliance in Forest Park, I think, can probably do a better job if our intent is to celebrate Pride Month by putting a rainbow somewhere in the neighborhood. I think there's probably a better place to do it than on the street, which if we do that after a couple of weeks, it kind of doesn't look very nice. And then for the better part of the rest of the year, it doesn't look very nice. And but that's I guess that's just my personal view, right? But however, that's also just on one side of town, on the west side of town, and it's on the ground. But again, if I just left that out of the story, the idea of Commissioner Nero not wanting to paint a rainbow on the streets should not be I don't think I should be judged on whether or not I support a certain part of the community based upon that decision alone. So, but that being said, the real reason that I don't think painting a rainbow on the street is because I reached out to contact of mine at the Illinois Department of Transportation. And unfortunately, the existing mural is not compliant with the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, specifically the colors, except for one. Well, there is one color. That color is black. So I don't know too many black rainbows. So that would preclude us from doing that. However, looking at it this way, I guess with respect to the safety and health of the residents of Forest Park, that should the opportunity or an accident happen as a result of a distraction or confusion as to the lines in that area, it is my impression that the village then could be held liable and be sued. And so all of this for me is really enough reason to explore other ways for us to celebrate or represent Pride Month in the Village of Forest Park. And I'd be happy to discuss other options, but in my opinion, this option is not the best one.
Commissioner Burns.
You know, we were talking about an ordinance for street painting 3 months ago, and we haven't got it. I think up until the time that I met with Commissioner Nero just before the meeting, and he gave me the information on IDOT, that ordinance should be null and void now, because if you can't paint stuff on the street, then we don't need an ordinance for it. So that's my position.
Mr. Maxim.
Can we talk more about, maybe Commissioner Nero has more information about the legality of painting on the street? This is the first I had heard about this.
I can't speak to the legality of it. I can only speak what's in the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices, and it talks about the colors used on the street. And so from a legality standpoint, I would refer to this gentleman sitting to my right.
Yeah, really. I thought the storm was bad enough. So I can tell you that in our litigious world, that, you know, the village enjoys what we call tort immunity, right? As long as the village abides by the, you know, the normal course of maintenance of its rights of way, striping, things like that. It's able to say in the normal course, we have tort immunity. If we make a mistake, we're not going to get sued. There are cases out there that if you are made aware or you cause a condition that causes confusion, and I've got a case like that right now with a motorcycle, that there's an argument that there's a lawsuit there to be had. I'm not saying it's a successful lawsuit, but if you deviate from what a normal pavement marking standard would be, you could run the risk of someone arguing, I got confused by the colors. And I'm making it up, but is there, an absolute legal issue? Couldn't tell you that. Do you give someone rise? And I'm not familiar with the uniform code of whatever it is. It's an argument. That's all.
Commissioner Vogt.
I just want to clarify the location of the rainbow is, it's essentially like a median or something. What would you call that?
I don't know.
A median.
It is a median, right? Okay. I didn't know if it was just painted on, if that had a different term, but it's painted within that median and it doesn't cover any drivable areas or markings that show where the lanes end. It's not covering any of those things. It's just painted within this median. Is that correct?
No, that's correct.
Right.
I mean, I didn't make it up. I'm just.
No. I'm processing a couple of things. The larger issue is there absolutely needs to be a plan and and language in our code that allows for what is and isn't allowed in the future going forward. I would have a hard time if someone were coming to this meeting today to say, I want to do X, Y, and Z or hang this flag here, approving anything because we don't have the language to tell us what how to approach that and how those determinations are made. I would say that it exists now, it's there, and they want to put a fresh coat of paint on it for the Pride event, which is great. But I also do worry about, and I mentioned this about it being painted the first time, you know, what happens when it does start to fade and deteriorate. And I would think it might behoove us to have a plan for removal or something at that point when it becomes not so fresh.
Hey, you know.
And those are my thoughts.
At the end of the day, we're sitting here trying to approve something that's very well non-compliant with Illinois DOT standards. So if you guys are willing to say, hey, let's just go ahead with that because it's there already, so be it. I'm not going to be the commissioner that's going to vote for that because if something should happen, I'm not going to put the village in a position to be liable or be sued. Furthermore, there's so many other things that we can do to be talking about how we can support Pride instead of spending 25 minutes talking about a painted mural on the street that's quite frankly should never have happened because it didn't go through this process in the first place.
Is there any further discussion? Mr.
I
Vogt.
just,
Commissioner Maxim, sorry.
oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know exactly how I feel about this now. I came in here planning to vote yes on it, but what Ryan said about it being non-compliant has made me question that. Because I also don't want to be the commissioner who, you know, votes for something that then could potentially open us up to a lawsuit because someone can't figure out where they're driving because there's a rainbow on the street. What I was originally going to say is that I do think that we need to have some kind of arts ordinance in place. And I've talked about it a little bit with Administrator Amade in the past. Should it be part of the signs, you know, ordinance? We weren't really sure. I don't want to have an anything goes mentality when it comes to things that are painted, especially in the downtown business district, because that's, you know, could affect other businesses, families, whatever. So I do think we should have some kind of ordinance in place, some kind of vetting process that would include a maintenance plan too, so that we wouldn't have the issue, you know, with like the Circle Avenue Bridge or with the rainbow where it's become faded over the years. But now I don't know how to vote because thank you, Commissioner Nero, for that.
Mayor, may I?
Councilman.
I just, Commissioner Byrne, just real briefly, I think Commissioner Vogt brings up another good point. Aside from the changes to your right of way and the implications that might have, you're also getting into a little bit of content regulation, which, you know, as maybe we should all know that when you start allowing one sort of content, you're going to be hard pressed to say no to the next content. And the Boston flag case is just, you know, whether or not anyone's aware of it or not, that's what that was all about. So you gotta be a little bit careful about how you treat your rights of way, your permitting within the rights of way, and what content or what policy you may have or may not have in place. Sounds like we don't have one in place to address those kind of content issues. You may allow the rainbow now, and then the next applicant will be somebody that maybe we're not as favorable for. So just gotta be a little careful about, you know, opening that door. Sorry, Commissioner.
Commissioner Burns.
Well, I was all set for an ordinance, but to cover all of these things, you know, I don't like to put the cart before the horse all the time. You know, if we're gonna paint different things on Madison Street, we should have an ordinance for it. But now we find out that it goes against what IDOT says as far as direction. And where that is painted 40 feet feet west of there turns into a turn lane to go southbound on Ferdinand. And then it goes across and then to go southbound on Des Plaines. So there's a lot of traffic that use that buffer area there to get to those turn lanes. And in rush hour traffic, they don't want to sit to go straight ahead on Madison Street. They'll slide over into that painted area to get to Ferdinand or get to Des Plaines. I see it all the time. Well, it does, can affect the traffic control with a different, with new paint and things like that. So I'm torn between this thing. It's not that I don't want to see something happen, but like Commissioner Nero says, that let's look at this thing on a whole basis here, what more we can do to make this day a great day. And if we're just basing it on what gets painted on the street, I think we're missing the point for what the Pride Day is all about. Thank you.
All right, if there's no further discussion, we can do two things. We can take a vote on this, or we can simply.
You've got a motion on the floor right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, we'd have to withdraw their motion
Okay.
and refer it back to committee or staff or whatever, or just vote it down and bring it back later. You can do it. Or vote in favor.
So commissioners, if it's your pleasure, we can take a vote on this, or we can withdraw the motions.
Maria made the motion and
Why would you withdraw the motion?
council's not interested in a position vote on the matter tonight. But you still have to approve the motion to withdraw. If you don't want to approve it, then you got to vote on it.
So to withdraw the motion would simply skip over this item and there would not be a vote on it. If the commissioners want to withdraw the motion and not have a vote.
So why would we do that? We just spent 25 minutes debating it. Why would we just pull it off? Why would we skip over? Make me understand that. I don't understand that. So we don't want to say no painting of the rainbow. We don't want to do that publicly. So we want to just take it off the agenda now that some arguments that were brought up that perhaps. I don't know. I don't want to be a jerk about it. I'm fine. You made the motion. We could skip over it. I don't even care about that. What I care about it, let's find something, a better way to do it. That's my whole point, right? So if that's the means to an end, so be it. I haven't been exposed to that in the last 3 years.
Can I ask a
Go ahead.
question? I mean, maybe Ryan, and I'm not sure legally if this is why, so that we could kind of go back to the drawing board and maybe look at other options or figure out the, exact code that dictates whether this should be allowed or not. And instead of saying no, we can withdraw it and get a little more info.
Mayor, voting no with comment will get you to the same place. I mean, you've got an action on your agenda tonight. I heard a lot of good conversation about where maybe this should go. You can vote no and at the same time give staff direction to bring something back if a different direction. You'll accomplish the same thing.
Basically, the idea of withdrawing the motion, if that's what you want to do, would maybe send a message to the Arts Alliance. Like we appreciate, your gesture towards what you want to do for the community. And we're not rejecting the spirit of the gesture out of hand, but there are some concerns that the council is taking into account. So it's a more gentler way of not taking action, I guess is what I'm saying. Or we could simply have a vote. It's up to the commissioners.
Can I make a motion to withdraw my original motion?
You have to agree.
Okay, so this item is
Off the table.
no longer on the table. Okay, commissioners, next item is a motion to approve appointment of individuals to the village's Altenheim Advisory Committee. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Maxim. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion. Commissioner Vogt.
I just want to reiterate what we've been saying over these past few months. We really appreciate everybody taking the time to apply and sit with us and chat with us about their volunteering on this committee. And it's really great to see so many people in our community coming forward and looking to be a part of this process and trying to do what's right in a transparent and open way. And I appreciate everybody working with us through this process because it is sort of new for us. It's the first time sort of doing it this way. So I appreciate also our fellow commissioners and mayor's support. And yeah, I really look forward to getting things started and to continue and work on this process with everybody. Commissioner Maxham and Director Glinke and Courtney Kashima. It's just, it's a really exciting time, and I want to thank everybody for volunteering to do this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Maxim.
I'm going to second a lot of what Commissioner Vogt said. I am actually really thrilled with this committee that we're putting together. When we decided to ask for applications from the community, I didn't know what to expect. And it certainly wasn't the amount and the just the incredible backgrounds and talents of people that reached out to us. It was, people we'd never met before, people just highly credentialed, amazing group of people. And the hardest thing was deciding, who to put on the committee because everybody was so exceptional without exception. And I also want to thank Commissioner Vogt and Director Steve Glinke. We spent a lot of time, working on putting this together, and also Mayor Hoskins for your support, and Administrator Amadei for handling all our multitude of questions that we asked along the way. So I'm really, really excited about this committee. I think it's going to be great. And I think the information we get out at the end is going to be invaluable to the village.
Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. Administrators report. Moses.
The one item that I have tonight, I just want to comment on the Jackson project that you approved this evening. Thank you for that. That is going to be the start of what's going to be 20 years of efforts going to be made by the village to replace the lead water service lines. The lead line replacement on Jackson this year, which the council decided to move forward on in light of the grant money that we're receiving to resurface Jackson. That's our water project this year. So in the coming months, probably later in the year, late in the year, or early in 2023, we will learn about our application that we made to the state about funding to fund these lead water service replacements. And then that will dictate the trajectory of at least the short term of what we're going to do from a water main replacement standpoint. Because now any water main that we do touch will require the full replacement of the lead water services. So this is step one in what's going to be a 20-year journey, a very expensive journey. I think we're estimating around $20 million. We hope that, and we will make efforts to obtain as much grant funding as possible to fund those replacements so we don't have to do it locally. But it kicks off very shortly. So thanks again for the council for your support with that. Thank you.
Commissioners reports. Commissioner Burns.
I just have one. I'd like to thank everybody that participated in the Kiwanis fundraiser. We had a pretty good turnout, and thank everybody for buying the raffle tickets and competing in the raffles that we had. January 25th, Kiwanis will be 100 years old. And the monies we get through these raffles and through Kiwanis help disadvantaged kids, sending them through camps, hospitalization. Also with the WSRA, West Suburban Special Rec. And also we donate scholarships to Proviso. So the money we get in for that, we spend actively to help the youth of our area. So I want to thank everybody that showed up. I want to thank everybody that bought raffle tickets. And I especially want to thank the committee for Kiwanis for putting such a great event out. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. Commissioner Maxim.
That was a great event. I had a lot of fun at the Kiwanis fundraiser. I have a just really short report that was also went out in our newsletter, the village's newsletter. Is that it's springtime, there's a lot of rain, and that means grass and weeds are growing very quickly. And the Village of Forest Park, specifically the department that I work with, requires property owners and occupants to maintain growth of any grasses, thistles, ragweed, and other weeds at a height below 10 inches. And you may get a citation if your grass grows too tall. So keep that in mind. That's all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Maxim. Commissioner Nero.
Thank you, sir. Real quickly. So I think there's been a couple of things that have been hanging out for a while, and they keep getting kicked down the road. We mentioned an arts ordinance or something tonight, and then there's the entertainment license cleanup language, right? If we could just have a plan on what's the path forward for wrapping these up and bringing them forward. So every 2 weeks, when things come up, we're not still revisiting that. And I don't know what that looks like, and if it means we have to sit down and discuss it, or we have to draft something, or we have to look at a draft of something before we finalize something, whatever that process is, I would just like to see some of those, specifically those two, brought to some sort of closure. And then lastly, there was during public comment, which I usually don't jump on stuff like that, but we have a traffic and safety commission that meets monthly. There is a meeting this Thursday, the 16th. I'm going to see if it's not too late. It might be too late to get an agenda amendment to see if we can't get that Starbucks alley on there. It might be a little bit too late for that to happen, but we are going to be talking about traffic incidents on Madison and Elgin, stop sign on northbound Troost and Harvard, and then a crosswalk at 5 and 600 Elgin and Jackson. And then, the process there is that they discuss it, they vet it, and then they bring to the council whatever recommendations and or conclusions they come to. And at that point, we can make decisions for the better good of Forest Park. So that's how that process works. So what I'm a roundabout way of saying is, hey, if you have concerns, please feel free to email Commissioner Nero. And we will, with traffic and safety, and we'll try to get those vetted properly. Thank you so much.
Commissioner, it is too late to amend that agenda because it has to be posted 48 hours, but there's public comment at the meeting as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Commissioner Vogt.
I would just like to mention that the rec board still needs a couple more members. So put out the word if anyone would like to join our rec board. Being down a few members, it can make it hard to get a quorum, as our review reporter here learned this past week. We had to not hold the meeting because we didn't have a quorum. So please, spread the word if anyone would like to join our rec board. And you can email me if you would like an application. You can call the village, and we could probably post something on the Facebook page, just asking for folks to join us. And then, speaking of weeds, I just want to give a shout out to Public Works. They've been working very hard on a lot of stuff, as always, throughout the village, keeping it looking good. And the weeds can grow faster than we can get at them sometimes. So I just want to thank them for the work they're doing. And you still, summer help, is that? But you could still, we are still accepting applications. So again, the Public Works Department needs summer help. So if anyone knows anyone that's looking for possibly a summer job with the Public Works Department, again, pass along that information. And that's it.
Okay, commissioners, just to go back a couple of weeks, I wanted to congratulate the council. We had 100% perfect attendance at the Memorial Day celebration a few weeks ago. Commissioner Burns did a great job as the MC. And I think it was a memorable ceremony, but it's not often that we're all together on a holiday. So that was pretty neat. We received official word today from Senator Durbin's office confirming our suspicions that the Army is pulling out of 7402 Roosevelt Road, the Army Reserve Center. Weeks ago, some of our police officers saw men moving equipment out of there, and they asked what was going on, and they said that it was going to be cleared out. We reached out to our representatives in Washington, and just today, we got word from Senator Durbin's staff that the property is going up for sale. It's not part of the base realignment enclosure. It's under a different system. So this is a system that's due to us, but we're going to do everything we can to familiarize ourselves with the system. And we would really like to, see the village be able to acquire that property. Certainly no guarantee that the village can acquire the property. And we just found out again today in a communication, there may be first rights to other federal agencies, but an 8-acre site right off of Roosevelt Road would be very attractive for development purposes. I really don't have that much more information about it right now, Commissioner Burns, but I'd be happy to discuss this with you.
That's still a TIF area, right? Till 2023?
It's next to a TIF. I don't believe that property is in the TIF. I don't think it's in the TIF. Okay. That's all I have. So with that said, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Nero will make that motion.
So moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second?
I will second.
Seconded by Commissioner Burns. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxam,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Nero?
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye, we stand adjourned.